Rain lashed against the windows. Sarah nestled deeper into her armchair, a cup of tea warming her hands. Her book, a comforting Agatha Christie mystery, lay open on her lap. Outside, the city was a symphony of rain and wind, but inside her small apartment, there was only quiet comfort. She took a sip of tea, the warm liquid soothing as the storm raged on. The rhythmic drumming of rain against the window pane was almost hypnotic. Sarah found herself reading the same sentence twice, her mind drifting away from the words. It had been a long day, and the warmth of the apartment, combined with the soothing sound of the storm, was lulling her into a peaceful trance. She closed her eyes, picturing the scene outside, deserted streets reflecting the city lights, leaves swirling in the wind, and the relentless downpour creating a curtain of water. A sudden noise startled her. It was faint, barely audible over the storm, like a whisper. Sarah froze, her heart pounding. She strained her ears, listening intently. Had she imagined it? Perhaps it was just the wind whistling through the old window frames. Taking a deep breath to steady her nerves, Sarah returned to her book, trying to dismiss the fleeting sound. Minutes ticked by, and Sarah found herself unable to concentrate. The whisper, though faint, lingered in the back of her mind. It felt too deliberate to be the wind. Unease gnawed at her. She told herself it was nothing, just her imagination playing tricks in the solitude of the storm. But a seed of doubt had been planted. The whisper came again, a little louder this time. Sarah's blood ran cold. It was definitely a voice, and it seemed to be coming from inside the apartment. She slowly lowered her book, her gaze sweeping across the room, searching for the source of the sound. Shadows danced in the corners, cast by the dim lamplight. Her heart pounded against her ribs, each thump echoing in the silence between the rain. She listened with bated breath, every nerve on high alert. The apartment, once her sanctuary, now felt oppressive, the air thick with unspoken fear. The silence stretched, punctuated only by the relentless rain and the frantic beating of her own heart. The silence stretched, amplifying the tension. Sarah slowly rose from her chair, her eyes scanning the room. She checked behind the curtains, her pulse quickening with each step. The apartment, small and cozy, suddenly felt vast and full of hiding places. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip on her. "Hello!" she called out, her voice trembling. Only silence met her question. The apartment seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation. She chided herself for acting so foolishly. It was probably just the old building settling, its creaks and groans magnified by the storm and her own apprehension. Taking a deep breath, she tried to rationalize her fear. It was just the storm, playing tricks on her senses. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that she was not alone. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of fabric sent shivers down her spine. She wished desperately that she wasn't alone, that someone else was there to break the silence that pressed in on her. Just as she was about to convince herself it was all in her head, the whisper came again, closer this time, sending a chill down her spine. It was a hushed, raspy sound, carrying the faintest hint of menace. Her name. It was her name, spoken with chilling clarity. Panic seized her. This was no figment of her imagination. "Who's there?" she cried out, her voice shaky. This time there was no mistaking the direction of the sound. It came from the hallway leading to her bedroom. Her heart hammered in her chest, a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She took a hesitant step back, her eyes fixed on the dark hallway. The shadows seemed to deepen, stretching towards her like grasping claws. Fear, raw and consuming, threatened to overwhelm her. The storm raged outside, mirroring the turmoil within her. "I'm inside," the voice whispered, closer now, sending shivers down her spine. The voice seemed to slither through the air, wrapping around her like icy fingers. Terror, pure and primal, surged through her. She backed away, her mind racing, desperately searching for an escape. Her gaze darted around the room, settling on the phone on the coffee table. It was her only lifeline to the outside world, to safety. As she reached for it, a sudden crash from her bedroom sent her scrambling back. The phone slipped from her grasp, clattering to the floor. "No," she breathed, her voice a strangled whisper. She was trapped, with only the storm and the chilling voice for company. The room seemed to shrink around her, the walls closing in, suffocating her. The lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. Sarah gasped, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a scream. In the sudden darkness, the whisper seemed to be everywhere, surrounding her, mocking her fear. Then, just as abruptly, the lights flickered back on. But the relief was short-lived. Her gaze fell on the phone on the floor, its screen glowing ominously. And then she heard it, the whisper, no longer coming from the shadows but from the phone itself. "I'm here with you." A cold, raspy breath close to her ear sent a wave of terror crashing over her. The phone clattered to the floor, its screen going dark, leaving her in chilling silence. But the presence remained, closer than before, watching, waiting.